Hi guys, well, I'm on a lake today after, believe it or not, more bream than carp. It's not gone that way so far. Basically what I'm doing is I'm doing a short feeder, approximately 20 yards out if that, to a small muddy area if you will, where there was fish boiling when I first turned up a bit. So been feeding ground bait, which is, I'm trying to think what it is, it's sticky baits krill mixed with, if I can find the blooming packet, frenzied hemp seed, castor and hemp ground up, which is it castor and worm or castor meal? That one there, mixed in with the sticky krill, which is that one there. And inside of that I have put some small micros that have been wetted and soft, and the obligatory good old yellow feed fjuka, which is the 4mm. And on the hook I'm using a push stop, a Drennan push stop, on a 6-inch hook length that's on a boom, twizzle boom, to a, I think it's a 14's push stop hook, corn push stop, but using the yellow fjuka neeonz. And so far, I mean, I'll show you the rig on a reel in a bit. Just cast out again, so give it 5 minutes. So far today I've had, first fish was a ghosty. It's almost a koi because it had a few orange spots across its head, but it was pure white, beautiful fish, somewhere between 8 and 10 pound by the look of it. I'll post you the pictures anyway in this video. Then I had a couple of small skimmers, roughly 3/4 of a pound in size, if that, and then hit into another carp. This one was a bit of a lump. It was getting on for, I'm going to say 14 pound, somewhere between 12 and 14, definite double figure fish. And all I can do at the moment is praise, absolutely praise the action in this Preston Monster X 9-foot rod. Wow, it handled it no problem whatsoever. It handled it like a dream. I'm even using the budget reel, which is the Preston inertia reel, and on it all I have spooled is 5-pound line, 6-pound line, and it's handled anything that it's thrown at it. I mean, that carp took me around the lake. I'll give you a little view of the lake so you can see. It's a nice open area, there's not many snags or anything in front of me where I'm fishing. We've got an island over there, thankfully it never went round that. It tended to stay in front of me and then go down this side here, trying to get in under the banking, but didn't succeed, thankfully. So all in all, it was a good fight. The reason I'm fishing, I'm just doing a bit more on the fjuka bait, trying to try it out on more waters and more tactics to see if it does outperform anything at the moment. I have got a tin of corn that I'll be trying in a bit, just to see how it compares, but I'm getting constant movement, bites, maybe liners and stuff like that all the time on the feeder at the moment. Just had another bream just before I started the video. I was just getting things set up and had a bream there of about 3 pounds, so that was one of the better, well, one of the bream that I was after. So far so good. Just getting a bit of a touch there, that's why I just I've got the brolly up because we keep getting these torrential downpours, which probably isn't helping the fishing too much, but it's certainly not putting the fish off completely. Like I say, I'm more than impressed with catching those 2 carp. I wasn't expecting to really even touch them, because in this lake they can be notoriously difficult to get, especially if they're feeding on naturals and things like that, and there's a lot of natural food coming up at the moment. I mean, the surface is littered with pond skimmers or pond skaters. There's a lot of midge coming up and that, so there's bound to be a lot of daphnia about, things like that. Birds were swooping earlier, but of course we've not got as many swallows and house martins around as we did have a month ago, if any. But it's been eventful this first few minutes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the video here, but I will restart again if I start getting any fish or bites again, and if I switch over my baits as well, I'll let you know. But at the moment, well, what I'll do, I'll tell you what, before I go, I'll reel in, because I always like baiting up my peg. Like I say, there's the Monster X rod with the inertia reel. That is Guru Pulse 5-pound line on there. And there's the rig up, down, which is just a Guru feeder on one of their short, small swivels and booms, if you will, whatever you want to call it. And then I've made a little twizzle boom there of line, which is about 6 inches in length, and then 6 inches longer is my hook with a push stop, which is right there. And that is the method at the moment. It's working. I'm catching fish, so I'm all happy. And all I'm doing is basically needle into the push stop into the bait, put down so the bait's sitting like that, and then just filling my feeder as you would normally with this. I'm not pressing it in too hard, I'm just getting a nice feeder full. Reeling up behind me, and then out again, little gentle whack, right out, feeder down. I'm not clipping up for the simple factor of, because it's such open water, I don't mind being overshooting it slightly or undershooting my cast a little bit, but if I do hit one of those carp and they take off, I don't want to be clipped up. I really don't, because I ain't going to get that line off quick enough. That double figure carp I had earlier, Genie Mac, I mean, I struck into it, I thought that feels a bit heavier, you know, I thought it doesn't feel like a bream, and it kited off to my left a bit, and as it come in, it spotted me and then decided I don't want to play this game no more, and started tearing off around the lake. So that was it. I knew I was in for a fun then. But yeah, I can't praise that rod and enough, the way it handled it. It didn't matter what pressure it did, I always felt like that rod had the control it needed. So look at that, straight away getting taps and tips. Hang fire. You can hear a carp supping on the blooming island over there, supping up against the rushes. Must be something blown in at the sides. I haven't brought any surface baits. Normally I always bring a few dog biscuits or bread or something. For the last hour I normally have a go on the surface for the carp, because there are some good ones in here, some good 20 pluses. But not today. Not today. I thought, persevere, I'm going to feed a fish. I did bring the pole just in case I wanted to have a crack with the pole for the bream. And I brought the float rod and waggler rod and things like that, but no carp rods as such, because I wasn't going to target the bigger carp. But still enjoying it. So right, I'm going to pause it here or stop it here for a minute, and I will get back if I have anything to report. But hopefully you'll see the pics of the other fish anyway. So anyway, tight lines for now. See you in a bit. Well guys, still here. Come back. I've had another couple of carp, a few more bream. Pardon me. I've just switched tactics now. I've gone onto the pole and I'm fishing tight-ish to a reed line margin, which is this side of me. I can show you over there. I say tight-ish. I'm a few foot off it, but I'm moving in and out all the time. It's pretty much uniform depth across that 3 or 4 foot. It's like a plateau straight off the rushes, and you're talking, say, 4 foot straight off the rushes, 4 foot deep, and then it goes out for about, I'd say, 10 maybe 20 feet out, and then it drops off again to 5 or 6 foot. So I'm fishing on top of that plateau. Foul hooked a carp straight away, big mirror, hooked it in the flank somewhere, and yeah, I wasn't stopping that. He powered off, lost that, came back in, had another couple of bream and landed them. I'm just into one now by the feel of it, little one. Had just a nice bream there a second ago of about 3.5 to 4 pound. It's just a little skimmer, half a poundish sort of size, but they all count. But it shows they're all still feeding well. I'm alternating between corn and fjuka. This one is on the yellow neeonz fjuka. Nice little skimmer. To give you an idea, those little buggers there. Put it back on again. Squashing them down slightly because I'm only using a size 14's hook. Now on this one I've got 6-pound main line with a 4.5-pound hook length to a 14's, and I'm using a 10's elastic. I think it's 10 to 12 hybrid elastic by Preston Slick. And so far, as you can see, just had that little skimmer there. That's probably the smallest fish I've had today, believe it or not. It's working, and it's working well. So I'm going to persevere with the pole for a bit. I was still catching the odd bream on the feeder, but it did die off out there. Why? I don't know. Just died off, so I thought I'll start feeding the margin. And I saw a few bubbles appearing where I've been feeding in, putting in ground bait and micros. Opened up the tin of corn, started feeding in some loose bits of corn, and that was what I first started fishing with. I had a first couple of fish out on corn, and I tried over onto the fjuka, had a couple more, and back on to the corn again, and then back to the fjuka. So I'm just alternating back and forth. It's working. It's working. The float I'm using, incidentally, is a Drennan dibber for shallow work, if you will. It's a 0.5 of a gram, so rather heavy. But that's because I want it to just get straight down, no faffing about, onto the bottom down there. And I've got my shot sort of a bulk of 3 shot first, then 2, and then 2 dust shot further down, 1 just on the top of the hook length. And the hook length is 5 inches hook length sort of thing, so it's just to keep it down there. Just had a touch then, just a little quick nibble. Nothing I could strike at. Just watching. That's the thing when you use those fjuka pellets, just for the record, they are that touch heavier than the likes of corn or maggot or anything like that, and they weight your float down that little bit more. It's something you have to get used to, because the amount of times you put in, you watch your float settling, and it settles down, and all of a sudden it goes that little bit lower. At first, when I first started doing it, I was striking at those little settles, and that's when I realised it's actually the weight of the pellet keeping it down. So yeah, just bear that one in mind if you're using them. A little bit heavier than, you know, the likes of your expanders as well. In fact, oh, that was a touch. Will I strike? Yes, there we go. Another little skimmer by the feel of it. Getting smaller. It's supposed to be getting bigger. Need to net that one. Even smaller, look, they're getting even small. So what we'll do, now that we've had those two, I'm going to switch back to the corn. And the best fish I've had carp wise, bream wise, came out on the fjuka pellet. Got a bit of corn on this time. Let's see if it changes up. And all the carp, of course, came out on the fjuka as well. I'm really impressed with that I've had 3 of those carp as well. This third one I never got a picture of, in fairness. I was actually in the middle of a phone call at the time, and so I couldn't use my phone to take any photographs of it, which is a shame, because it was another mirror, semi-ghosty, probably, I'm gonna say, about the 7-pound mark. This one maybe getting on towards the 8, but not near a double, so the smaller of the 3 carp. And that one I just lost, that was a big double. I mean, I think the scale is down there, the mirror scale is about that big. But I don't even think it knew it was hooked at first. Foul hooked it in the side, but I don't think it knew. It was just moving back and forth like a submarine patrolling. And then all of a sudden it felt me increase the pressure a bit, and it said, "Nah, I'm gonna go off down the bottom of the lake if you don't mind." That's where it went. but thankfully the hook just pulled the scale out and no harm done to the rig and no snagging done to the fish, so all good. That was just another little lift then on the float. Stopped. And that's the thing, when I fish for the bream in here though, the bream tend to be decent size. I mean, those two little skimmers there, I don't normally get them that size in here, to be honest. I'm not trying to brag and I'm not trying to put this place up. It's just the standard of bream in here is normally a couple of pound and upwards, you know, £2, £3 and up. I've had them up to £5 and £6, but you're generally talking 2 to 3 pounders. It's very rare I catch skimmers in here, but it's not an impossibility, obviously. Fish breed. So you're always going to have the chance of catching those smaller ones. I'm going to just give that a little... it's just moving around a little bit on that plateau there, so I'm just going to give it a lift and drop, which sometimes instills a take. Is that the right word? Instill? Who knows? We'll see what happens this time. It's just settled nicely, and yes, my float is up I'm going to say about 2 or 3 mil more than it is when I've got the pellet on, the fjuka pellet. So it just shows that weight thing, you know. And yes, I've still got the brolly up because we're still getting these heavy downpours every now and then. I'm going to take it down again in a second, I think. And see what we can see without this canopy over my head all the time. But it came down, when it came down last, that rain, by God did it come with a chill, so I think the weather's definitely turning, getting that autumnal spread where the weather starts getting that little bit cooler. When you get the rain and the wind, it's got that little bit of a chiller to it. The leaves are starting to fall off the trees as well now, which is, you know, creating a bit of a debris field at times on the lake when you get the heavy breeze, but they're only just starting now. It's not terrible at the moment. But let's see. Oops, little tickle then. Oops, little fish just jumped right in front of my feet there. Tiny little thing. Go on then, take it. Here's another little bob. I'm so happy to give it a little bob, but never, you know, you're never getting these. Just take the bloody bait on the first time. Maybe I've got my weight set a little bit wrong. I might have a play with my shotting, just for the sake of. Because I don't think it's anything to do with the bait. I think the corn and the fjuka are just performing as well as each other, to be honest, on here today. And corn has always been a solid bait to fall back on at any time. You know, corn is just an awesome bait. It works for anything and everything. Would I use maggot if I had it? Possibly. I'd probably, if I'll be honest, try and flick through it for the casters, because I do find if you put maggot on in here, you can tend to get pestered by a few small roach and rudd. But if you keep feeding it in and you're willing to persevere, you do pick up some good ones. There are some good roach in here, you know, and some good rudd. There really are, you know. There's not any record breakers like, but you're talking good £1, £2 fish, and catching a roach or a rudd at that size, I don't care who you are, that's a cracking fish, you know. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause you again here, and if I get anything better, you'll be the first to know, apart from me. Okay, I will chat to you again soon. Right, for the last part of the video, guys, I've just literally had my last cast of the day. I'm about to pack up, and I was on the pole using a size, well, my 10's elastic, and I've had this beautiful, beautiful ghosty mirror. Absolutely stunning fish, as you can see. Pristine fins, pristine mouth. Look at that booty. Getting on for say £7–8. Absolutely stunning fish, lovely colours, lovely condition, and I've had a cracking day here. All these fish coming out on fjuka, couple on corn. Get yourselves on it, lads, get yourselves on the bank and have a good weekend. I'm going to slip this one back and I'm going to go home. I've had a good day, so take care and tight lines.